talk about things I love. Oh my God. Big up Ye. Ye's been on a bit of a rampage on Twitter. He's been going fucking crazy. But I have to be honest, I really did enjoy these next couple of series of tweets because they hit home to me. They hit home to me because it spoke directly to me and my experiences. So if you're not aware, Ye on the 18th of March, this tweet has now been deleted. I'm not too sure why. Maybe somebody got into his ear. Maybe he received a text from the person who he insulted. I'm not too sure. But his tweet does not exist anymore. So thank God for Yeezy tweets for the archive. But Ye decided to get on social media and blurt out something that really warmed my heart regarding somebody that I used to know and be friends with called A-Side. Back in the day when I was coming up in the scene, I was involved in the streetwear scene, in the sneaker scene, but I was always on the outside, which I loved at the time. I was on forums. I was an editor on hypebeast.com, one of the first ones there actually. I was a moderator on the Hypebeast forums, which is another flex. I was on Superfuture, I was on Fifth Dimension, I was on fuk.co.uk, represent those guys, Crooked Tongues. I was all out and about. I was going to sneaker exhibitions, streetwear fucking panel discussions, all this lame, corny, geeky shit. But I was always on the outside in. Then one time, I guess, maybe because of the time I had a blog called Stop Begging that was kind of popular here in London at one time. Talking about streetwear and kind of, you know, documenting my life and whatnot. I think maybe that was the reason why A-Side kind of noticed me. I'm not too sure what was the reason. I forgot actually what it was. But regardless, A-Side at the time was working at Nike. He had this really cushy job, a job that everyone wanted back in the day, where he was the head, I think, of Nike Energy Marketing. And the energy marketing basically was the cool division of Nike. That was where what you got to do, like influencer stuff. You got to do like cultural things, music activations, art things, book things, whatever it may be. And A-Side was the main guy of that thing. And he noticed me and then took a liking to me. And then I guess decided to involve me in this project that I didn't know about at the time, which was called 1948. 1948 was a small retail store and a concept space, whatever else it may be, in Shoreditch that sold a lot of like limited edition Nike stuff, but it also had a lot of events, DJ events, activations, art events, whatever else it may be. Really fucking cool. The interior was designed by two really prominent architects that really did some great, like, you know, interior design in terms of displays and shit. And just in general, it was a really cool store. And I think that time, that store was launched in conjunction with the Beijing Olympics, if I'm not mistaken. That's when that store was opened. So it was a really popular store. He put me forward to being a member of the store. And the idea behind that store was like, that was like a retail store. So I was basically a sales assistant, but the title was like you was a brand ambassador. So you got basically to rep Nike working there, and you also got to work in the store. And the benefit was that they sold all the limited edition shoes only. Everything that went in there was limited edition, quote unquote, tier 0. So that was when I got the chance to wear the first Yeezys that were sold there. When Kanye was still with Nike, all the limited edition trainers I got from there, cassette players, stuff like loads of shit over the years. So it was a good time. And that was early on in my kind of experience in streetwear and hip hop. So on streetwear and hip hop, streetwear and fucking sneakers. So it was a really good thing. But then over the years, my relationship with this guy A-Side kind of sullied. And mostly because of his attitude and personality. So although he always had good jobs and he was always plugged in and knew people, soon after I started actually in 1948, he left and quit his Nike job, which was really shocking. Everyone was like, what the fuck, it's such a good job. And he quit to just do his own thing, to be like a musician, consultant person, I don't know. And then he went off to do some stuff with Tremaine Emery from Denim Tears, which is how I kind of loosely know him from afar. And they set up this thing called, what was the thing they did? I forgot the thing they set up. I forgot the name of it, but they set up some sort of like brand. I forgot what the brand was called. But then A-Side went on to do his own thing, music and other sorts of bits and bobs. But during that time of him doing his own thing, it's when our relationship sort of sullied and got a bit weird. Mostly because of him. I think maybe I also played a part in it. I'm not too sure. But what I remember precisely that kind of soured me to him and made me hate him was that one time I went to like an event that he put on with Tremaine from Dead in Tears. It was some sort of like after party for some sort of brand thing. And I was on the list. And then I guess I got there late. No, I didn't. Did I get it? No, I got there on time, I think, when it opened. But there was a queue because it was in demand. And then he came and you know how it is when there's a queue, but you're on the list. You just wait for the person to get at the door. Then you kind of holler and you kind of get snuck in. So I was at the queue, queuing up normally. But then I noticed he came to the door. So I went to the front of the door to be like, hey, I'm here. I'm on the list. You mind like getting me in? And nowadays I would never do that. And I think the reason why was because of experiences like this. He just like egoed me, as a kid will say. Like egoed me in such a way, tried to make me feel so small that was really unnecessary and really kind of out. Like I think that was the first time I saw that side of him, because I think I only saw like a cool, nice side, like the mentory side. But then I saw the other side of him, which is just like, you know, a scene person. To be fair to A-Side too, it's not just him. I think this happens across the way, right? I think it's happened across the board. I think everybody, I think I was speaking to my friend Matt about it the other day. I think everybody that was involved in the scene, everybody that's involved in the industry, subculture, I think it applies in fashion. I think it applies in DJing and art, whatever. People just have this like attitude about them. I don't know what it is, especially in London. It's just a weird attitude, right? They kind of feel like they're better than you. They kind of talk to you like a peon, especially if you're not like on their level, quote unquote. It's just a weird attitude, right? It's kind of what attitude of those people that, I don't know if you've seen them, but like on my timeline, I always see them. These people who are like, who always seem to be proud of their friends and boasting about their friends on social, but all their friends happen to have cool jobs. They're never proud of their friend who just became a manager at Tesco. It's always like, oh my God, I'm so proud of my friend. Oh, because they're an editor at The Face. Oh, I'm proud of my friend because they just got represented by this big agency. Oh, I'm proud of their friend because they just played at Berghain. How come all your friends have cool jobs? Why don't you have like regular, normal friends? No, but that's part of the clout Olympics, right? Everyone kind of wanting to be those cool friends. So I guess I never saw that side of the guy. So I saw it in that instance when I was at the club and I tried to get in, or tried to, you know, alert him that I was there and I was on the list, and then she kind of maybe sneak me in. Now, don't get me wrong, maybe that was entitled to me to think so, but that is not uncommon. If you're, you know, if you've been out nightlife, you know that's a thing. If you get on a list of a really popping event, but then you see the person at the door, you should maybe try to say, hey, I'm here, could you maybe sneak me in and see what I want? He could have just said, no, I can't, it's oversubscribed, just queue and wait, everybody here's on the list. But the way he spoke to me was just like crazy. So I saw red because, you know, I'm not really a confrontational, aggy sort of like fighting kind of guy anyway. But when it comes to like disrespect, I just can't take it. Like it happens at work all the time. Like I've been in so much trouble at work. When people say something that's disrespectful, I'm always going to fly off the handle. I just will never accept it. I just don't think it's necessary, right? Just speak to me with respect. You know, let's all treat each other normally. There's no need to be rude. So he went rude, and then I went mad. I was going to fight him outside of this club. I think even Tremaine stopped me, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And it just went mad, didn't it? I was going to cause a bit of a scene there. And then since that day, we've never really spoken or like, you know, hung out in any kind of normal way. I think I might have saw him at one event one time ages ago, but it's never been the same ever since. So I've always kind of like bore a grudge. But then at the time when it happened, I remember a lot of people just like not like acknowledging that he's a dickhead. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that he had a cool job. But I think over the years, as time has gone by and his clout has maybe increased, I'd imagine, because now he hangs around with a lot of music people and whatever it may be, and he's always in pictures with cool people going to cool events. I haven't spoken to him, I'd assume he's even worse than when he was when I first met him. I'd assume he is. So nowadays, I feel like a lot more people speak about his attitude. So it's nice to see things like this from Kanye, taking the piss of what he looks like and shit, and tweeting the following. A-Side told me my metal teeth looked back. No, A-Side told me my metal teeth looked back. He asked me, why'd you do it? No, A-Side told me my metal teeth looked black or looked bad. He asked me, why'd you do it? This nigga A-Side basically said, I don't look good. Well, at least he got his own toy. And Kanye posted a tweet of this figurine from the 300s, the guy with the fucking bubbles on his back and stuff with the hunchback, because if you've seen A-Side in real life, you know that I think due to some condition he has, his back is a little bit, you know, a little bit cranked. So, and the next thing he posted regarding A-Side was this. A-Side scoliosis always been an elephant in the room. Tremaine putting too much weight on that shoulder. And he posted a picture of Tremaine and A-Side at an event somewhere. So I gotta be honest, this filled me with so much joy when I saw this on social media. I was so excited because this is the one time only in real life, in public, that I've seen someone validate my feelings when it comes to somebody I don't like. Because for whatever reason, and I think it's mostly because of his kind of fame and notoriety and clout, people just weren't willing to acknowledge that he can be a dickhead. And I've experienced a dickhead side of him, right? And I thought at that time it was unnecessary because we were perfectly cool before, and then I got some cunty reply, tried to make me feel like a peon, and I just wasn't having it. Even though technically I was a peon at that time because I wasn't really anyone, I don't think you should treat people like that. I don't think you should treat people based on their follower count or if they know Frank Ocean or not. You just treat everybody with respect. Just have good manners across the board. That's me, personally. I treat everybody the same. But some people are not like that. But I kind of regret at the time flying off the handle because I was really ready to fight. Like I went crazy. I had to get calmed down by bare people outside of the club. I think I ended up leaving straight away. But I can't lie, man. Like I just can't tolerate disrespect, especially in public like that. Like I just can't do it. And I'm somebody as well that I would hate myself coming back home thinking I should have done this, should have done this. So I'd rather crash out there, take the consequences, wherever they may be, than regret not doing or saying something in that time. So even though this is kind of mean and disrespectful and it takes the piss out of his condition and he's suffering and stuff, the guy's not a good dude, in my personal opinion. The guy is not a good dude, in my personal opinion. And I think this is well and truly warranted, although it's coming through Kanye and he's not in a good space at the moment and he's a little bit, you know, going through something. I'm so happy to see somebody that I dislike getting absolutely trashed in public, especially somebody as famous as fucking Kanye, who's got fucking however many millions he's got on social media, and full HD, because there's something I've been screaming for the longest about this guy, but no one wants to listen to me because who am I, you know? But now Kanye's saying it, everybody's now taking attention to it. And from the amount of cosigns I've been receiving from people on the DMs, I'm not going to expose you, but you know who you are. When I shared this thing on my stories, I'm not the only person that didn't like him, you know? I think people just bit their tongue because they wanted to get free Nikes or they wanted to get invited to certain parties or get on a list of certain things. But fuck all that shit. You know what I mean? If a guy's a dickhead, he's a dickhead. I'll write off the whole thing. You know what I mean? I'm not going to any of your events. I'm not fucking co-signing anything that you do. I don't give a fuck. It's not that important. There's a big wide world out there. It might kind of, you know, it might cut my nose to spite my face, but fuck it, I'll take the fucking consequences. So I'm happy to see it. This is a very toxic segment of the podcast. I know it's very toxic. I know I'm coming across very unhinged. If I tell you how long ago this happened, you're gonna look at me weird. If I tell you how long ago this happened, you're gonna look at me weird. But one thing you should know about me, I hold grudges. I'll take a grudge to my fucking grave. I'm not in the business of forgiving people. Forgiveness is just, it's for the weak. Like, there is no forgiveness. You cross me, you're dead. You're dead to me forever. I'm wishing the worst on you. I want to piss on your grave. Everything. I don't care. You know, that's one of my toxic traits. We all have our toxic traits. One of my toxic traits is that I bear grudges. I hold on to things forever. And when I hate with full fucking chest all the way through until the end. You know, until the end. Even sometimes I get as far as going like, I can sometimes hate somebody so much, I would even forget their name. Like, you know, that kind of anger, that kind of bitterness, like for so much, I forget what their name is. Like my brain sort of like does like a fragmentation and whatever, do you know what I mean? And so I kind of hard deletes it. That's how much I can end up hating. But I'm glad he fucking did this. Big up fucking Kanye. It's fuck A-side forever. Glad to see him getting put out on blast like this. And although it's mean, although the things that he said about, you know, about him regarding his scoliosis, not the nice things to hear, he deserves it because for the longest time, man's been one of the biggest dickheads on the scene in London, bar none. An absolute capital dickhead. So I'm glad to see it. Big up Ye. Solidarity with Ye. Take your grudges to the grave, people. Take your grudges to the grave because you only got one life to live. And why the fuck not? Why the fuck not?